Greetings and a very warm welcome to Kashmir University's weekly video magazine Quest. Dear viewers, former President of India Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam inaugurated a 4-day international conference at Kashmir University, stressing on integration of technology in medical research. In today's episode, we have a report on the inaugural function of the 4-day international conference. I'm your today's host, Muhammad Fahimul Islam. A 4-day international conference titled Cellular and Molecular Mechanisms of Disease Processes was recently held in the Kashmir University. The conference, organized by the university's Department of Biotechnology, was inaugurated by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, in university's Gandhi Bhavan. A large number of eminent scientists from India and abroad, which include Dr. V.M. Katoch, Director General ICMR, Dr. K. Vijay Raghavan, Secretary, Department of Biotechnology, Professor G.P. Talwar, former Director, National Institute of Immunology, Professor S.E. Hasnain of IIT New Delhi, Vice Chancellor Professor Talat Ahmed, Deans of various faculties, heads of various departments, scholars, faculty members, academics, invitees and students attended the inaugural function. Vice Chancellor, Kashmir University and Chairman of the conference, Professor Talat Ahmed, felicitated the former President and other dignitaries with bouquet and mementos. Organizing Secretary of the conference, Professor Rais A. Qadri, presented the welcome address.
We are much delighted that Honorable former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is here with us today in spite of his very busy schedule. His thoughts will no doubt inspire us and ignite us all. We are pleased to have been able to gather many outstanding scientists from India and abroad, and a large number of students from different parts of India for this meeting. We will have presentations and discussions on various themes on infectious disease, immune mechanisms, chronic disorders, and cancer. These scientific deliberations will not only enrich our understanding of these diseases, but will also provide guidance for developing novel therapeutic interventions for some of various diseases. This conference will also serve as a booster for research in biochemical sciences in our state in general and in university in particular.
In his speech, chief guest of the occasion, Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam stressed on integration of technology in medical research and maintained that convergence among multiple technological and scientific disciplines, coupled with making sustainable systems, would define the knowledge society of the 21st century. Dr. Kalam said that he has seen and witnessed how two different sciences are shaping each other without any iron curtain between the technologists, adding that this reciprocating contribution of sciences to one another is going to shape our future and industry needs to be ready for it.
Friends, for the first time in history of science, we are able to see the unity of nature. We are all connected in the universe. In the DNA, virus, bacteria, in plants, birds, animals, and human beings are all interconnected. Friends, for the first time in the human history, scientists are able to see the unity of nature at the nanoscale, along with technology integration at the nanoscale by transforming tools and the pursuit of improvements in human performance. A revolution is indeed occurring in science and technology based on the recently developed ability to measure, manipulate, and organize matter on the nanoscale, that means 1 in 100 billionth of a meter. At the nanoscale, physics, chemistry, biology, material science, and engineering converge toward the same principles and tools.
Referring to the emerging trend of the introduction of ecology in scientific and technological innovations, here's what the nuclear scientist had to say.
Researchers are now able to alter the genes in plants to produce different types of plants with special characteristics, such as an increased resistance to diseases and pests or ability to grow in difficult environments. I have recently visited an international crop research institute of semi-arid tropics in Hyderabad. I was shown a number of genetically modified plants tolerant to not only pests and insects but also to drought. I inaugurated their newly constructed greenhouse containment facility of the platform for translational research in transgenic crops, PTTC. Gene therapy is a promising field of medical research. Researchers try to supply copies of healthy genes to cells with variant of or missing genes so that the good genes will take over the physiological function. Viruses are often used to carry the healthy genes into a targeted cell because many viruses can insert in their own DNA into targeted cells. But there are problems with gene therapy. Unlike in plants, scientists still do not quite know what every gene in the human body does. Huge scientific efforts like the Human Genome Project and related projects have completed mapping the entire human genome. But it will take many years to find out what each gene does and how they interact with one another.
He added that while information and communication technologies had already seen convergence, nanotechnology is the future to replace microelectronics.
Nano biosensors, as you all know, and processors will contribute greatly to research, to the development of treatments, including those resulting from bioinformatics, genomics, and proteomics. Specific technologies are creating implants based on nanotechnology and regenerative biosystems that will start to replace human organs, and nanoscale machines unobstructedly providing needed medical intervention. Advances in cognitive science will provide insight to help people avoid unhealthy lifestyles. And information technology will create virtual environment tools to facilitate, diagnose, and treat medical professionals. Friends, I believe much research has occurred since then. Emerging as well as converging these technologies now include GNR technology, as I said, plus cognitive science and neurotechnology. The newer formulation, Nano Bio Info Cogno, that is called NBIC, you don't know. The convergence of NBIC technologies can vastly improve human performance over the next 10 to 20 years.
Dr. Kalam said that in any part of the world, developed or underdeveloped, some of the major issues include affordable healthcare, availability of pure drinking water, basic infrastructure, sustainable development, and focus in research in the field of science and technology should always be the core of any policy making in order to alleviate the suffering of the poor and needy.
Friends, it's very important that right understanding of genes is percolated to every level of our education and professional training as a new era in medicine ushering in. Let everyone realize that we live in an intelligent, self-regulatory universe, and genes are the connection that binds us with both of our past and future. The information in genomes provides instruction set for producing each living organism on the planet. While we have a growing understanding of the basic biochemical function of many individual genes in genomes, understanding the complex process by which this encoded information is read out to orchestrate the production of incredibly diverse cell types and organ functions. We now recognize that inherited or acquired variation in DNA sequence and changes in epigenetic state contribute to causation of virtually every disease that affects our species.
During his extensive speech, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam emphasized on the need for incepting technological advances in medical practice so as to offer better healthcare facilities to the citizens of the nation.
Scientists across the world are doing active investigation of genetic and epigenetic regulation of development, molecular genetics, genomic and cell biology stem cells. In addition, they are engaged in the biochemistry of microRNA production and the regulation of gene expression and genetic and genomic analysis of disease including cancer, cardiovascular and kidney disease, neurodegeneration and regeneration of neuropsychiatric disease.
Referred to as the People's President, Dr. Kalam expressed concern over the rising number of cancer cases in the Jammu and Kashmir state and said there was a need to have convergence of various technologies to fight such diseases.
Kashmir is high prevalence of zone of gastric cancer and remains the main threat, possibly due to different dietary habits. Colorectal cancer has been found to be the third most common cancer after the stomach cancer. Moreover, toxic chemicals sprayed on fruit trees and orchards are causing fatal brain cancer also. Kashmir has a history of having different types of communicable as well as non-communicable diseases. I am sure the oral administration of IGY has proved successful treatment of variety of GI infection. Kashmir University can take the lead in this area.
Nuclear scientist and former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, said that convergence of various technologies would lead to emergence of new advanced technology, resulting in increase in the average lifespan of humans.
Now, new technologies field result from the technological convergence of different systems evolving towards similar goals. Convergence brings previously separate technologies such as voice, like telephone features, data, like productivity application, video together so that they share resources and interact with each other, creating new efficiencies. Convergence of genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics, called GNR, has already happened. Genetic engineering may soon provide treatments, if not outright cures, for most diseases, and nanotechnology and nanomedicine can address yet more ills. Together, they could significantly extend our average lifespan and improve the quality of our lives. Yet, with each of these technologies, a sequence of small, individually sensible advances leads to an accumulation of great power alongside great danger.
The Missile Men of India appreciated Kashmir University's initiative to organize such an international conference and hoped that the outcome of the discussions among various scientists would contribute towards controlling the spread of dreaded diseases.
It's pleasing and equally fascinating to see an audience of large number of scientists from life science, along with vast number of eminent speakers, both from within the country and across the globe. I congratulate Professor Talat Ahmed, the Vice Chancellor, University of Kashmir, Professor Ais Agwadri, Organizing Secretary, other members of his team for putting in order an international conference of such an impact and magnitude for the first time in the valley.
In his presidential address, Governor Jammu and Kashmir Shri N.N. Vohra, who is also the Chancellor of Universities of the state, spoke about the interconnectivity between life science and other sciences and urged the participating scientists to focus on the origin of various disease problems, particularly those being faced by the people of Jammu and Kashmir state.
Would be able to particularly focus on some of our regional problems, regional disease problems, and more particularly the problems which face Jammu and Kashmir. We have virtually endemic status of several ailments, several aberrations on the medical front. In organizational terms, in terms of health care, medical care, we have not so far been able to reach an optimum level of organizational response to meeting the problems faced by our people. Besides the incidence of cancer to which Dr. Kalam referred, we have hypertension, we have cardiovascular ailments, we have influenza virus coming at certain periodicity, we have certain allergic problems which popularly are attributed to Russian species of poplar which grows here. I'm not sure whether it is the only scientific reason. We have incidences of hepatitis C from time to time. We have diabetes, fairly large scale.
The Chancellor also said that there is a need for togetherness of approaches and coordination of efforts between various agencies, including educational institutions like Kashmir University, health agencies and industry, so that standard laboratories could be established at various districts in the state, thereby providing optimal healthcare and diagnostic facilities to the people of the state.
I think one of the areas which requires fairly sharp attention is early diagnosis, is disease surveillance, preventive measures, which I'm afraid are not being taken for early detection, including cancer. And if between the university, Professor Talat Ahmed's various scientific departments, the scientific organizations, agencies in Delhi, led by Dr. Katoj and Dr. Vijay Raghavan, if somehow or the other we could bring about a certain element of convergence in our objectives and our goals that we pursue, and also involve the industry, then possibly it should be within reach in the next few years to establish excellent, reliable laboratories at each district headquarters, at district level. Today, I confess, it cannot be said that we have reliable laboratories even at the regional level. So people travel all the way to Delhi and beyond for the treatment of their ailments. So the meeting of minds and exchanges between clinicians and researchers which this conference is bringing about is a very happy augury. And I very much hope that as a consequence of these consultations, we can evolve some practical model which will interlink the work in the universities and scientific institutions. So I trust that if we can bring about a togetherness of approach, a coordination of efforts, then I'm sure that in our vast country, the population of 1.2 billion and beyond, we can bring about a healthcare system, medical care, medical treatment, which is affordable, which is timely, and which over a period of time reduces the incidence of morbidity and disease.
During the function, Conference Chairman and Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Talat Ahmed, presented a copy of a documentary titled K Innovators to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and to other dignitaries as well. The documentary, produced by Kashmir University's Educational Multimedia Research Center, is based on the efforts of Kashmir University's Gyan Cell to encourage grassroots innovation in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. In his address, Professor Jörg Hacker, President, German National Academy of Science, Germany, while speaking about different aspects of research, said that we are in the age of revolution in cellular and molecular mechanisms, and integration of technology has achieved path-breaking results in medical science.
You may know the conference deals with new approaches in medicine, and it is indeed presently the case that we are in the age of a revolution, a real revolution. This is a revolution of genomics. And many talks and presentations which will be given here at the conference would not be possible 10 years ago, because in the last 10 years there was a strong development in this respect. And therefore I'm very excited to listen to presentations and to discuss with scientists and students, because the program from my viewpoint reflects this genomic revolution. There will be discussions on infectious diseases. We will listen to this already. Systems medicine, for instance, or single molecule technique. This is a real new age, and it also brings new power into the medical system.
Professor Hacker, while complimenting Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, termed the former president's document, Vision 2020, not only a vision for India, but for the whole world, adding that India was greatly benefited in the field of science and technology during his presidency, which gave a fillip to the overall scientific outlook of the country.
Today, in the morning, I already quoted one eminent German scientist. He was a vice president of the Leopoldina in the 19th century. This is Rudolf Virchow. And Rudolf Virchow, he mentioned that medicine is a social science, and in fact, politics is simple medicine on a larger scale. So politics and medicine has something together, and therefore it's great that we have politicians here with us, and especially you, Dr. Kalam. You are a scientist and you are also a politician, and you are the first scientist who was elected as President of India. You were named as a people's president during your time, and I read a little bit on your program, and in the year 2002 you published a program, India Vision 2020. And I think this was had an enormous impact on the Indian society, but also nationally. The key elements are freedom, development, and recognition by the world. And you mentioned 5 different topics which are instrumental for scientists, not only in India, but worldwide. And I think these are topics which are well known and which do not really give a vision for India. They give also a vision for the world. You can also call your paper World Vision 2020.
Registrar, Kashmir University, Professor Zafar-e Rishi proposed the vote of thanks.
At the outset, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Shri N.N. Voraji, Honorable Governor, Jammu and Kashmir State and Chancellor of our university, for presiding over this inaugural function. Sir, your unstinted support, valuable suggestions, and seminal contributions in the progress and development of this university are gratefully acknowledged. I would like to express my profound gratitude to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahib, Honorable former President of India, for accepting our invitation to inaugurate this conference. Sir, we are all privileged, inspired, and highly encouraged by your gracious presence here today. Our profound thanks are due to Dr. K. Vijayaraghavan, Secretary, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, Dr. V.M. Katoj, Director General, Indian Council of Medical Research, Government of India, Professor Jog Haker, President, German National Academy of Science, Dr. G.P. Talwar, former Director, National Institute of Immunology, New Delhi, Professor Ehtisham Hasnan from IIT Delhi, and other valued guests for taking time off their busy schedule and gracing this inaugural function. Special thanks are due to our worthy Vice Chancellor, Professor Talat Ahmed, for providing all support and assistance in organizing this conference. I take this opportunity to extend thanks to all the invited speakers, delegates, participants, and guests who have come from within and outside the country to participate in this conference.
With that, we come to the end of today's program. Log on to EMMRCKashmir.com to catch all the latest episodes of Quest. Send us your valuable suggestions and feedback at quest@EMMRCKashmir.com. Before I sign off, here's this week's thought. Most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple and may, as a rule, be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone.